Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, people of our grandfather's generation founded this country. And one thing they talked about and established in the rule of law that they made for this country is that the government, when they charge someone, has an obligation to prove that person guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That rule that our grandfathers were wise enough just 100 years ago to establish holds true for even a governor. Even someone who, the Attorney General, obviously, if you listen to the language, doesn't care for politically. His cronies, his political, will to get rid of crime. Look at that language, because there is a reason we're here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk about evidence. And that's what a court of law is about. Evidence is what was missing from what the Attorney General just talked to you about. We don't disagree with many of the things he said about the rule of law. The rule of law is important. But let's look closely at the evidence in this case, in this courtroom, that is going to decide this man's life. Because evidence is what it's about. The evidence that you've heard in this trial has not established that the governor of this state told someone that Jesse James had to be killed. Let's talk a little bit about something that the government concentrated on a lot. And that's the wanted dead or alive poster. Think about it for a minute, what you heard about this wanted dead or alive poster. What the government wants you to believe is that the governor, with Mr. Farr, his secretary, wanted to keep it sort of a secret and not have any connection to him, that this poster was issued by, paying cash. Remember the testimony of the telegraph operator? Paying cash to keep it off the books? Well, why? The governor said he didn't specifically authorize the poster, but he isn't distancing himself from it. Ladies and gentlemen, we grow up in an age when this wild, wild west is being tamed. And this governor is one of the people that has taken it upon himself, elected by us, to help enforce the law. There is nothing illegal about a wanted dead or alive reward. And if you think about it, what sense for a man of Jesse James' ilk would a reward make if it wasn't dead or alive? What sense in the world would it make? Who's going to go try to capture a man like that? Yes, capture. You've seen the proclamation that the governor issued, and you've heard about it. This talks about capture. This doesn't even talk about dead or alive. But ladies and gentlemen, we don't distance ourselves from that dead or alive poster. We embrace it. Because it doesn't say only kill him. And if you recall, the first several witnesses that the government called in this case, Major Neal, Mr. Farr, the secretary to the governor, the telegraph operator, Sheriff Johnson, none of those witnesses could tell you that the governor only intended Jesse James to be killed. All of them told you that the governor wanted the problem to be solved permanently. And with each and every witness almost that has testified in this case, we've heard what permanently might mean. This is evidence. That is what a jury is responsible for looking at. This country 100 years ago was established by people who recognized the importance of evidence to prove you guilty. They recognized the common intelligence and sense that we get when we bring 12 citizens, in this case citizens of this state, together to make a decision. One of the things you will see in the instructions that the court will give you is the word common sense. Look at that and think about it. Does it really make common sense, ladies and gentlemen, that we're here today and a governor's on trial with this evidence that they have to present? Evidence such as things he said after Mr. James was killed. The governor doesn't deny that he's not going to shed any tears over Jesse James' death. And things he said after the death are not evidence that he conspired to kill Mr. James before he was dead. It is not. It's the government, for whatever reason that doesn't make common sense, trying to throw everything at you and hope something sticks. Common sense tells us there's no case here, doesn't it? Why are we here? Perhaps with all the talk of politics and cronies and the rich cronies of the governor, perhaps we're here, dare I say it, political ambition. Maybe that's why we're here. I don't know, because nothing else makes sense. Putting on a man like Mr. Ford to be believed is not common sense and is not good evidence. And if you look at what Mr. Ford told you, even in his direct examination by the government, he said the governor said to get him. Mr. Ford never said that the governor said directly, kill Jesse James. A law enforcement officer, a governor, cannot be responsible for the actions of everyone. He can only be responsible for his own actions. And you in this courtroom can only hold him responsible for his actions. And ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is not there to believe that the governor of this state, beyond a reasonable doubt, only intended for Jesse James to die. There is evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that the governor of this state wanted to deal with this problem, and he was serious about it, and he does not apologize for that. There is evidence that Mr. Ford, a man within the James gang, a gang of cutthroats, and we all know that, don't we? The only way to get at this man, after the efforts you've heard from all these law enforcement officers, was to get somebody within the inside. Whether they bring him in, or whether they shoot it out trying to capture him, or whether he ended up dead, is not evidence that this man, the governor of our state, conspired to kill him. So when you deliberate, we ask that you set politics aside. It's not about that. It's about evidence. And ladies and gentlemen, my co-counsel and I have been given a gift here. We've been given the gift of defending an innocent man. We're going to now turn that gift over to you. And we're going to ask that you acquit the governor of this state of these charges. Thank you.